the biggest stock in America, a big part of this move, Apple, surging more than 9%, Karen, for its best day since 2008. Oppenheimer may be helping fuel those gains. They upgraded Apple to an outperform, $320 price target. About 20 minutes ago, I saw a note from Evercore ISI, an after-the-bell report saying their data shows that App Store revenue surged 20% in January. Good time to get into the stock or buy more of it if you own it?
Well, I'm long, so I guess I would be a buyer here. As I always say, if you go home long, it's like you bought it. I mean, this move
you
is
didn't buy
crazy.
more today.
No, I didn't buy more today. This is a crazy move on really no fundamental Apple news. I mean, I guess, Tim Cook was talking about India and Trump helping in India for Apple. But, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't jump in today and say this is the day I got to buy it. I do still believe, though, that 5G is the driver here, and that I think there's a very good chance that the 5G story plays out at the end by the second half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to think about what the positives for Apple in this environment is, if you think about interest rates at lows, and even if you have some kind of economic shock or a recession, you have Apple, which has a massive stockpile of cash, so they're going to be able to cover their liabilities, cover any dividend that they're going to pay, and then they almost have this kind of utility effect where your cell phone is the last thing that you're going to get rid of. It's essential to most people. So, I again am not going to be buying Apple up after this massive move, but I think in the next week or two there may be a time to have a real good risk reward entry to Apple.
Well, Apple's a market proxy, so no matter what, Apple was going to outperform on the way up, and it was just like it did on the way down. So if you take the trough to peak, and it basically closed on the peak, so the trough from Friday, for those playing at home, 17% in the world's biggest company. You can do the market cap swing, so somewhere around $250 billion of market cap was added to Apple off those lows back up to the highs. The Oppenheimer note, interesting note, they do downgrade a bit on EPS going out to 2021. They took it down, looked to be about 7% on some of the obvious overriding factors, but they say at 320, this is a stock that not only technically has upside, so they can upgrade it from a upside to valuation to target, and then they've also just talked about the same things we just talked about. I think it does come back to valuation, and I think if you look at the valuation of Apple right here, you're around 20 times 2020 numbers. What do you want to do with the stock in an environment where they can do a lot with their balance sheet? I think you want to own it, whether you want to own it right now. I think this thing needs to settle in.
So, by the way, guys, just if we could throw up H Hyatt Hotels, they're withdrawing their guidance. So there's another. We kind of, again, to your point, Karen, we kind of expel Hyatt Hotels, just saying they're going to withdraw their guidance for the year. But I think if you're a Verizon guy, Adami, or an AT&T, to BK's point, I mean, Verizon was up 6% today. I think it had an upgrade. All of our brains are a little bit fried over the last couple of days. You're not shutting off Verizon because of coronavirus. It's the last thing you're going to do. It's not a Hyatt Hotels. You know what your business is going to do.
No, and there have clearly been some winner. I mean, tangentially, we mentioned this Zoom video since it was, I think, a $75 stock, and you see the move. So there have been some winners through all this as well. But, getting back to Apple quickly, because I know on the Monday after they said they were going to sort of be hurt by what's going on in China, the stock was down, I think, $5 from $321 down to $316. And we commented, it's surprising it wasn't down more. The next day, the stock's making an all-time high. We had a conversation on the desk, all of us here, saying, you know what? It's not ridiculous to think that this stock should retest 280. Well, not only did it retest 280, it got much lower than that. But it did it on almost 200 million shares over the course of 2 days. This is a stock that trades 30 million shares a day. So I hear what everybody's saying, and I'm not saying to rush and buy it, but if you're looking for something to trade against, those 2 days with extraordinary volume are as good as anything on the downside.